Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a new update. And you can see that we've got Ethereum up there. We're going to discuss Ether today. We are also live tonight at 8 p.m. Central European time to answer all your questions, to discuss the markets, everything that is going to occur on the markets. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Also follow me on Instagram. There's content to be posted on there as well. And yesterday we've made an update on the markets in itself, in which we have discussed that the majors are relatively consolidating, which means that Bitcoin and Ethereum are consolidating. They are making a range, and that is actually quite healthy, as we just saw one of the biggest impulse waves in general. And we do have some stuff this week that could be influencing the markets in general. What is going to happen on Wednesday when Biden is becoming the president? What is going to occur with the dollar during the week? How is that going to affect the cryptocurrency markets? We simply don't know. But overall, we do see that we're actually making that range-bound construction that we have discussed, in which you should try to avoid to become bullish at resistances. In general, you should try to avoid that. And you should be able to define the support levels and become bullish at supports, and just start building from there, as definitely people are experiencing FOMO, are experiencing that pressure to buy the resistances. But if you want to have the best risk reward approach, you should always be cautious with your entries, and just define support levels in general. So what do we see on ETH? We're first going to discuss ETH before we're going to discuss Bitcoin. We are seeing on ETH that we're currently having that range-bound construction. We had a very impulsive move on the upside. We had a very impulsive move on the downside as we wicked with 30%. And since then, we see that the volume is slowly draining away, and we see that the volatility is slowly draining away. And that's what we're most likely going to experience in the coming period some more. In general, you do see those impulse waves. You do see the impulsive moves, and then the volatility starts to drain away to make a new compression, consolidation, and then continuation is going to occur. But we first have to compress the prices before we can do that. And that's why you see those relief rallies on altcoins, as well, as most likely those are just relief rallies, just testing previous levels of support for resistance, or just making a first breakout. Then we get a final correction all across the markets at some point, in which Bitcoin is going to make another downwards drop. And from there, most likely the Bitcoin pairs will start to phase up at a later stage in this year. And then later on, Bitcoin will start to make its new impulsive wave, etc. But that's generally the approach that we have here, as the current move of ETH mostly came through Bitcoin USD doing well and ETH Bitcoin just stabilizing. So we still have to experience in the real alt season, in which the Bitcoin pairs are going to do well. But based on the higher time frames for ETH, we can see that we're just consolidating here. We tested the first level for support, as that's the previous high as well. 3-day chart is not saying too much, going to close later today. But we can see that we have the support range around 9, and we have the resistance range around 13. And then in general, we have to zoom in to see how everything is going. And we have been discussing some stuff in the article on Cointelegraph, in which we stated that the critical area to break through is actually this 1200 level, or this 1200 range here. Why is that? Well, we do have this range-bound construction in which we see this previous high. We do see that we've got deviation, which created a bearish divergence, and after that we slammed down through the level towards the other side of the range, which is the range around, or the area around $900, which in general is the support area. Right now we can see that on the lower time frames we are actually grinding up, but volume is significantly dropping, in which the case is that there is going to be a very volatile move coming up. What do we see? We do see that we hold support here. We do see that we flip the level. After that, we break resistance and continue towards this critical resistance zone. OB becomes support. Another test fails, lower high. And now we are on a critical breaker. So the area that is going to cause volatility on the Ether markets is this zone here. Once ETH drops below 1150, I'm assuming that we're going to accelerate downwards and we're going to make the drop towards this range again and continue the range bound movements in which the volatility starts to drain away. That is on the downside. If, however, ETH starts to break through this high and flips it for support, so we get this move, starts to consolidate, and we start to see continuation, different than this period we have here, that is going to be bullish, and then we're going to see new all-time highs for ETH. However, Bitcoin in itself is also still following this plan in which we have been saying, okay, 40k is the range high. We're currently at around mid-range. The area to hold is this 34k zone. However, we have to break through this 36.5 range to actually make that breaker towards the range high again. If that does not happen, we most likely get a test here. So ETH is very correlated to the movements of Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin starts to make a run towards 40k to 42k again for a test of the range high, just as any of these range bounds construction happened during the halving period and in September as well. And you can see that we're just about to make another one and getting a little overextended, in which a corrective move is just very healthy still. What we're going to see is the question here. If we're going to lose this 34k level, this range level around 34k, very likely we're going to get the test in this gray box again, as that's the range low for support, taking liquidity below these lows and then bouncing back up, finishing the correction most likely. However, if we do break through that 36.7k area, I'm targeting the 40 to 42k zone, and then most likely our dearest friend ETH will also start breaking out of this range high construction and probably make a new high and possibly even make a new all-time high. Is it, however, an entry at this point? I do not believe ETH has an entry at this point, given that we are not on swing lows. So if you're wanting to trade ETH, definitely you've got some opportunities through scalp trading. However, it is just not an entry on swing trade. So I get a question with, is Ether currently an entry? First of all, you have to define it for yourself. And second, it is acting in the range highs. So that is not an entry point. If you want to look for entries, you're going to use those higher time frame levels to define those entries and place your bids there, rather than chasing a trade that's already gone. And if Bitcoin is going to make that drop or is going to consolidate, even Polkadot is going to make a corrective move, just like we have seen in the previous impulse wave. And then we're going to look at levels that we see here. So we've got levels around this $14 and around this $13 level. We've got 1180, and we've got this previous high at 1050 as the extreme low that we should be looking at for potential entries. And I see that I have to adjust my Fibonacci here. So we do have this level here. That is one. This is two. 1180 could be one as well. And then potentially, probably 1180 is going to be the low with a final wick opportunity to 1075. So those are the levels you should become interested in Polkadot, rather than becoming interested at this point, as it is already gone. And if we look at the Bitcoin pair for Polkadot, we can see that we've actually accelerated and came into the highs already here. Previous market got broken. However, if we do lose this level here, a further downwards drop seems quite likely. And in that case, we can start defining levels for support, and that's frequently based on previous price action. So the first trigger point is this range around here, causing the price of Polkadot to drop significantly, as this is a 30% drop, and then you get into the same ranges as 13 to 1180 on the USDT chart. So right now you can see on both pairs that it accelerated, and you can also see that during those accelerations we get corrective moves. So now you have to define your entry points for Polkadot, for Ether, for Bitcoin, and have to be patient on taking the trades. So I hope this small video helped you with that. Tonight, live stream, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back then with some more content. Have a great day.